We're live. Yay. Hi.
Finally, we made it. We're a few minutes late, but we're here. And thanks for everybody that's showing up. I'm Cleo the Seer. This is my sister, Colleen, the cool Crone. And we're here to talk about politics. So, hi, Connie. Hi, Dee. Hi, Mimi. Pegasus. Hi, Pegasus. So, we have a few people that are not all in the chat. So, and we want you to participate in this with us, and we'll try to get to your questions. Both of us are like a little bit disabled when it comes to putting the questions up on the screen here.
No, I know how to get them up on the screen. It's just that the chat goes usually faster than I can catch up with them. So
Exactly. And also we're so busy talking and trying to answer things that we miss stuff, but we'll try to get to everybody if anybody has any questions. So
it's really hard for us old gals to blab while we look at the chat. It's either blabbing or chatting.
It's hard to multitask.
It is hard to multitask. So just give us a break.
It didn't used to be hard, but I got too old and now it's really hard.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
Well, anyway, as everybody knows, we have a big problem with our new president, and he just continually does things that it's just screwing up the country. He's trying to bring the country down, and he's kind of succeeding, and he's going to throw us into a huge recession probably when he keeps up with these tariffs. And then it just keeps coming back around that this is a president that is just out to get the people that got him. And then by him saying continually over and over and over that it's a lie. And I just saw an article yesterday, I think, that talked about that he lambasted a reporter who didn't understand that he had won the presidency 3 times. And, I'm with the reporter. He's saying that he's still basing everything on a win that never happened, that was never recognized, that went to court 60 times, and nobody could figure out what he was talking about because that just was not true. And we know that every single move he makes right now, he does it in the name of he's going to save the country some money. He's going to get rid of the fraud. Fraud, there's the biggest fraud in the world about the 2020 election. And he just is, I don't know, it's just so crazy. And, his cognitive impairment is just getting worse and worse. And I just keep wondering, when is somebody going to say, let's quit coddling this guy. Let's quit going along with this completely ridiculous nonsense, especially about the 2020 election. But if he doesn't have that, he doesn't have anything. So he bases everything on that. And I'm sure that reporter was just as confused as everybody else in the group. Like, what is he talking about 3 times? And then I looked at it and I thought, well, if that was true, then he is an illegitimate president right now, because there's nothing in the rules or the Constitution or anything else that says that he can be president 3 times. So again, I see that he is an illegitimate president. So this is just crazy what's going on here. Are you starring some of these questions, Colleen?
I'm starring a lot of them. I've got 5 of them starred.
Thank you.
Not all of them are like big questions, but they were comments too that I just thought should be starred. So go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I just want to hop in here and say, I think we are witnessing the very dangerous and very sad decompensation of a very, very sick person. This is somebody who somehow stumbled into the wrong bathroom. Like all of a sudden, he is in the power seat of all power seats. And it's not an accident. I mean, other people put him there, but he is so non-compos mentis. It's been reported that he does not understand what he's signing, even when he's signing executive orders. So I wonder if he can even read and write anymore. And it's been, reported that he's just, I mean, not reported, but you can just see that he's just repeating things that he's done and said before. The only time he really looks really, really badly confused is when X and little booger X is around. And I'm just like, wow, this guy is so out of it. He's so out of it. And it's so dangerous for our country. But he is a very, very sad and decompensating, not only a mental health patient, but physically. He's just decompensating in every way. And I mean, they've just got to have like the military just, I mean, they wouldn't even have to rush him. All they would have to do is just say, come here. Here's a little Cheeto. Come over here. Here's your little hamburger. That's it. Now walk into this room with the nice padded walls. I mean, that's all they'd have to do, because this guy is not a challenge to get to or to capture in any way. Anyway, I'm just going on, but go ahead, Cleo.
Well, the Supreme Court created a monster here by allowing him to just do anything he wants to do. And on top of that, it's coming from a convicted felon. It's just mind-blowing what is happening here.
Mhm.
I think that, whether it's dementia, whether it's just his personality, whether it's just because he is just so filled with hate and revenge to try to get back at somebody, and he's got the power to do it. Somebody has got to step up and say, hey, wait a minute, why are you, I know we're all thinking that possibly a lot of Democrats are being threatened, or anybody that goes against Trump's wishes is being threatened in some way and threatening their family. Now that's pretty scary, but some people have just got to get over it, and they got to get a little bit tougher about this and realize that you're not doing him any favors, and you're not doing the country any favors by supporting his delusions. I mean, the man is delusional.
Yeah.
Going back to 2020, I mean, it's just absolutely insane what is going on here. And so with all the the firing people, continually firing. I mean, he just fired some people from the Federal Trade Commission, I think it
Did,
was.
did he do it or did Elon do it?
No, he did. Trump did it. And they said
Oh,
Trump did it.
okay. All right.
And it was totally illegal. So all these things, and we know that some of the other things are illegal. So Justice Roberts said, basically, he was just saying, you really can't do what you're doing. It's against the Constitution. Now we already know we're in a constitutional crisis because of what Trump is doing. So I know everybody is wondering, when's this going to stop? When are we going to do? When's it going to change? Well, you see, like this month, we're just in the thick of it. I mean, it just keeps coming. These things are all adding up. There's people out there that are watching what's going on. And as far as when, I don't know, but everything that you're reading and seeing and the goofy things that he's saying, and even this thing with Putin, I mean, come on. It's nonsense. And then, and he also, that's another thing. First of all, I don't have an answer for when, but it just feels to me, this is me personally, I just feel like it's coming much sooner than expected. I mean, I know a lot of people are talking about August. A lot of people are talking about the next election, or the next election in 2026. Please, no way in hell is this thing carrying on that long, because if it does, we'll be living in a whole different world. It can't go on, because people are people will rise against the fascist administration that's running the White House, running the country. I mean, so now I forgot where I was going with this.
Okay, I'll let you get your train of thought and I'll jump in here. So there's a huge protest all around Trump Tower today against the killings in Gaza. Huge. It's gone on for hours, and they broadcasted it live on YouTube, and they had police escorts. It was a legal protest, and there was a lot of people there, and they went on for quite a while. So that's happening. But also, you got to wonder, you said, he's not doing any favors for the country or for Trump, but who are they doing favors for to keep him there? And that is definitely Putin, but also the gang of Project 2025. So that would be Peter Thiel and Elon, but also the dude from the Heritage Foundation, and that other dude that came out in the news one day that is some sort of mastermind or something. I mean, God, there's just so many of these crazy people, but they're very committed to this Project 2025. So that's who's getting the favors, is all of those people. And the deal with Putin too, I keep saying this, is that Russia cannot mount a huge big war offensive. They don't have the artillery, they don't have the people, they don't even have like jeeps and trucks to transport their people. Their people are using donkeys and mules to get back and forth between the front and wherever they have to go next. Like they don't have good uniforms. I mean, they just, it's really bad. The last, I know that I had quoted that they'd lost 800,000 people so far from Russia, but about I think 15 or 20,000 of those people were actually from, is it North Korea or South Korea, whichever one is Kim Jong Un. God, I should know this. I'm sorry. I don't. I should, I should know which country it is, and I don't. But Kim Jong Un's soldiers, about 15 to 20,000 of them were killed, or maybe more, 200,000. I don't know. But not all of those 800,000 are Russian people. But the Russian people have got to be just up in arms that their loved ones are being massacred. And I mean, so I don't think Putin can really do much more. So what is he doing? I think he's putting incredible pressure on Dumpy to do more and more and more of what he says. And think about it, since right before the eclipse was only on the 14th. So it was only this last weekend, and starting about a week before the eclipse, Trump was just coming out bald face and saying things that showed he was a Russian asset. He was all for Putin. He was doing everything for Putin. And then just started flying in the face of all these court decisions that were saying he couldn't do what he was wanting to do. Because up until that point, he had said publicly, well, yeah, if they say in the courts I can't do something, then I won't do it. But about a week, maybe 8, 9 days before the eclipse, he started not doing that. He started flouting the court decisions, and he started coming out just flagrantly as like a Putin cheerleader. So that's what I'm saying. Like he has nothing to lose. I think he knows he's at the end. He has nothing to lose. He's just going to say whatever the hell he wants to say. And I think it's this kind of, he's going into like a childhood kind of thing in his brain. He's just like, this is fun. I'm just going to say that like Putin's the greatest thing on earth. I'm just going to say that I'm going to bring about world peace. I'm going to negotiate peace for the war in Ukraine. He's just saying crazy shit. And now what was the other thing? He was going to Oh, what was the thing he was
Well,
going
now
to?
Putin is saying that he's going to slow down or cease fires a little bit on the electric grid and on the nuclear power plants and that kind of thing. You can believe him. No, you can't believe him. You just can't believe anything he says. And I
No.
mean, I'm sure Zelensky is totally not buying into this, and they're not letting their guard down, because the minute they do, here comes a big old bomb and hits their nuclear place. I mean, it just,
No, it's
crazy.
something like 45 times Putin has gone against a ceasefire. So, I mean, no, they don't trust him at all. But the thing about the ceasefire is that Putin needs that. He needs some time to regroup and A, figure out exactly what to do, and B, find some people to execute his plan. He doesn't have the people. His people are basically dead, all of them. Looks like
Now,
true.
I wanted to bring this up because I know it's not the Russian war and it's not Ukraine, but this is really important. Kat says, looks like Truth Alliance put out a video today, showed stories about the election in Pennsylvania. They said to stay tuned, very, very soon they would have something coming. Yahoo! This is exactly the kind of thing we're waiting for. I'm so glad somebody found this on here, because yes, this is exactly what we are waiting for. Uh, there's a bunch of things going on, but the election interference is one of the bigger items. And, we have been hearing that it's been under investigation for a while now, that it involves other countries, that they're getting intel from all over the place, because the election interference is also occurring in 6 or 7 other countries in the world. And it seems to be connected to Musk. And I am just I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for this to come out. So this is what we're talking about, where things are getting closer and closer. Now, once they have all I'm told that once these things, they're sure of what they've got, they're sure of what the intel is, that we will hear exactly what it is they have. I don't know that right off the bat that they proceed to remove somebody from office, but they are, this is what we're waiting for. It will take time, but once we all hear it, and once we, of course, there's going to be a bunch of deniers, but I'm just waiting for this to happen. And I've been waiting for a long time now, like since November.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah.
every day thinking, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So I love it that you guys, that Kat saw this on there and posted it, because I haven't seen that yet. I love seeing that. So yeah,
Yeah, and they've had so many people come out in Pennsylvania, but in other states too, all around the country, and just people, neutral parties coming out, scientists, and saying, data scientists, and saying, here's how it could happen, and then, oh, here's how it did happen, and just lots and lots of proof that it did happen. So that is really good. That is really, really good. It builds up a good case. I don't think that's the kingpin that really knocks him down. But I threw some cards on just the idea of, when are they going to stop Trump? And I do see that very soon. Now, remember, we have the solstice in 2 days is it's not solstice, the equinox in 2 days. And the astrology for the equinox is very strong and very much a part of this whole buildup of revealing what has been going on and revealing the evil that has been going on. So that's happening in 2 days. And then on the 29th is the eclipse. And that's even stronger and more military focused than the first eclipse. Just putting it out there. And what my cards are saying here is I have the Page of Cups, which is, some unexpected news coming out. Well, duh, there's tons of unexpected news coming out every day, but it's crossed by the Queen of Wands. And I keep getting the Queen of Wands. I'm not 100% sure who she is, but she's a fire sign woman. And I will just say that Judge Beryl Howell, who just came out in the news, kind of shaking her finger at Trump and saying, you can't do the things that you're doing. You have to stop. You will be, she didn't say arrested, but she said, you will be stopped if you don't stop. So she's coming out very strong, and she is a fire sign, and she's been a very strong voice against him all the way along. Beryl Howell, remember that name. She's a United States District Court judge, so she's a federal judge in the Washington, D.C. court system. And then beneath that is the sun, more revealing, more revelations of things coming out. Behind it in the past is the King of Swords. That's a lawmaker, a prosecutor, an attorney, a judge, even a police officer, or military. These are people who are already in on this story. What crowns it? Judgment. So definitely there's going to be some pronouncement coming down that says something pretty devastating on him. However, the next card is Justice reversed, and all my cards in this deck are upright. So the fact that Justice came out reversed tells me that this is not going to take. Like, they may come out with the judgment saying, yes, this is what he did and this is wrong and we're taking him down, and but I don't see the action here of confining him. And that's what I'm looking for, is a moment where they confine him, they lock him up, they put him in handcuffs, they put him in a hospital, they take him to the marshal, or the marshal takes him away. Something where he is restricted and can no longer act as president. So I think that reverse justice card just shows that it doesn't quite take this time, but it will. And then he's just thinking about, how can he get away, how can he make his move, how can he have Elon buy him out of it or something. He's still trying to make an escape plan or some sort of a plan. But the final outcome card is the Four of Wands. Now, you can think of that card in a couple of different ways. The four poles of the Four of Wands could be a jail cell, a confinement. It could also be a celebration of people coming together and being very happy about a resolution. It's usually like a wedding or a party or an anniversary or something, but it's people who love each other coming together. But it could also be, those four wands could also be a cell, a containment. So I think very soon that there are going to be steps taken to confine him very soon.
Well, and I think that it will definitely be, and I've always said this, military. It can't be just they can't go through regular channels, because
they're all bought.
Well, that, and because of what the Supreme Court did, by giving him just such latitude to go and do anything, any damn thing he wants, and putting him above the law. What a huge, huge mistake for a Supreme Court to do such a thing. Unless they were in Russia, then it would be okay. But we're not Russia, and we never will be. And this thing with, and somebody asked about, how can you tell if Trump's demented?
Oh, God. He's been demented since 2016.
If you've watched anybody that goes through this, and I've had some experience with that, you can just see, because for one thing, the things he says are so out there. But by saying, that he had been elected president 3 times. Oh my God, there's so much information that totally destroys that theory. And then to know that everything he's doing is based on the 2020 election, and his hatred of Biden, and his hatred of, all the prosecutors that went against him and the judges that went against him. So he's one by one trying to take them out. And he's still claiming that he was president in 2020, or that he was elected president in 2020. That is, if it's not dementia, it's something very serious, a serious mental illness. It's the inability, he has no ability to accept truth. And so, and the only truths he understands is that goes with what he thinks, what he wants, where he's going. He is out to destroy everybody that got involved with January 6th, that got involved with, supporting anything Biden wanted to do. He is not here. This lame thing about, well, we have to do these tariffs because, we've been getting screwed and we want more money and all this. That's not what this is about. He's doing the tariffs simply to avoid for his rich friends to have to pay taxes. And that's all he's doing. It has nothing to do with making our country better. We are not going to make more money off of this. It's going exactly the opposite. It's a typical Trump move. Everything he says is opposite of what he says.
But here's the thing: is that he has grabbed onto this idea in a very childlike way, because he just caught this idea that, oh, we'll just make them pay more, and then they'll hurt, and that we'll take the excess off the top, and we'll get the money from that. He doesn't understand at all how it works, because he's got a child's mind. He doesn't know anything about history, because the Moot-Hawley Act failed back in the 30s and nobody ever wanted to do it since. That was the tariffs then, because they don't work. But also, he does not understand that his gazillionaire friends are suffering. They have all lost significant net worth just in the amount of time that we've had tariffs, just in this month and a half or 1 month or whatever it's been. Already, they are hurting. Jeff Bezos, he lost Amazon subscribers. People are not ordering from Amazon. His net worth is going down the toilet. Washington Post, now Trump is berating Washington Post, and even said that they should be made criminal and closed down. They should be charged with crimes and closed down. And the other guys, I don't know, he hasn't really come and named like the head of Google or any of those guys, but I think, I've seen Mark Zuckerberg's face a lot on YouTube videos lately. So I think that he's done something to really diss Zuckerberg. But Bezos, he's really been horrible. And Bezos is really losing money. Elon Musk is losing money. They're blowing up Teslas. They're putting them on fire. They're boycotting buying Teslas. They're attacking the Tesla dealerships, and Tesla stock is going down. The last I heard, it's at something like 225. And I believe I heard somebody, now I'm not a stock person, so I don't really know anything. I'm a YouTube reader on, come on, don't take me seriously. But I heard probably from another reader that when it hits 220, which it's dangerously close to that at 225, when it hits 220, the banks will call the loans on Musk, because he used the Tesla stock as collateral for a bunch of his loans, like the loans for Twitter and the loans for other stuff, SpaceX, Starlink, just pick up company. And so when he has to pay back those loans, the party's over, because he doesn't have that stock to sell off to make the money to pay the loans. So that's when he's going to go, oh, I think I'm going to fly to, I don't know, maybe Dubai or some other, like he's going to leave. He's just going to leave, because he can't go to Europe. Everybody hates him in Europe. He can't go back to South Africa. He's wanted for something there. So he's going to have to go to some other country.
I agree with you, Colleen, but also I agree with Bern O'Malley.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Ben, or I don't know.
Bern.
Whatever. I like what he said. I love and hope that the Election Truth Alliance breaks the code and shows us and the world what the hell actually happened. This is exactly what is going to happen. They are breaking the code. They are getting the information. And it's not just from Pennsylvania. And like Colleen said, it's around the country, like Nevada and Arizona, and I can't remember all the states that were so focused. Well, mainly focused on the states that had the electoral votes, that put him in there with the electoral votes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it means that it's happening right now. That this investigative stuff has been going on for months, and so if they're now saying, hey, we're getting there, yes, 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 it's what we've been waiting for. It's what we've been talking about. With the things that are happening in March that are going to make the change that affects everything. So when you ask about time, it's a big, huge process, and it not only encompasses the elections in this country, but the elections in 6 or 7 other countries and how they were manipulated. So they're probably putting together all the information for everybody. But in the meantime, yes, they will eventually expose all this. That doesn't mean that it comes out one day and then suddenly everything changes, but it
No.
means it'll be if when Trump gets wind of this, he'll immediately go after those people and try to put them in prison for this terrible, terrible fraud that they're pushing. That's not.
Well, what a lot of people are saying too is if you are protesting, be very careful. Cover your hair with a hat, cover your face, wear sunglasses. Don't allow yourself to be recognizable. Change the settings on your phone so that people can't like I can't remember what it was like facial recognition on your phone. Change that, disable that so that if you get arrested and the police have your phone, they can't force you to open your phone by holding it up to your face. They have to make you do like the code or whatever. But look up, do an incognito search on the internet. Go in with an incognito session. You can choose that in I think the 3 dots in Chrome will let you go incognito, and then search your information for whatever protest you're going to be a part of, and make sure you go with other people. Don't go alone, and make sure that you don't wear things that are recognizable to you. Wear just clothes that anybody would wear so that you just kind of blend in with the crowd. It's important because people are getting arrested, not just people of color. White people are getting arrested too. So be very, very careful. If you're white and this has never happened to you, maybe you want to research this a little bit about what can happen to somebody when they get arrested in an authoritarian regime. It's not pretty.
So
And
you're talking about the people that are going out and protesting right now against whatever the immigration thing, the deportation,
yeah,
firing of federal
yeah,
people
yeah,
uh,
you be careful. You got
in
to
a
be really careful. You got to be.
wow.
I'm not saying don't protest. We need people to protest, and we especially need white people to protest because the people of color are even more in danger than we are. But I'm just saying that, be smart about it. Don't go by yourself. Go in a group. 3, 4, 5 people. Make sure you're in a group. You can all stick together and help each other. Make sure you know where you're going, where you start out, where you end up, how you get there, how you get back. Make sure somebody knows that you're going and where you're going to be so you don't get kind of lost in the shuffle. And take it seriously that you could be arrested. And if you're a white person, you have a better chance of being released. But this is, the Trump regime we're talking about. So it could go the other way. So just be really careful and be prepared. Just prepare yourself for it. They're doing all sorts of weird stuff in Texas. Really weird stuff. So just be careful.
Yeah, okay. Uh, I don't want to. I want to just freak everybody out on this kind of stuff because I didn't know that people were being arrested and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
um, wow, okay,
Yeah. You got to be careful. But we do need people to protest. And I mean, me on YouTube saying this is not going to stop anybody protesting, but there's already just a ton of people protesting all over the country. They have been for like ever since January. People have been protesting a lot in big numbers, and that's great. And in every state, they're protesting, and that's really good.
here's an interesting question. Will the monster actually use the military to try and get Canada? Hopefully, this will not happen. I think it takes more than just one person. Again, I mean, he can go off on his own, but I think Congress would probably be involved in something like this. And to use the military to try to get Canada is just, it's such a bizarre thought. I have I have trouble trying to read on it because it's just, no, I don't see that happening. I don't see them Canada ever becoming part of the United States. I see the more likelihood of the West Coast going to Canada than Canada coming to the United States, but that will probably not happen either. But I mean, the Trump is making such enemies of people that we've never been an enemy with. We've never been even close to being that angry with Canada and creating a situation that it's what Trump is doing. It not only affects our economy, it affects their economy. And so it's a no-win battle that never needed to happen. And there is people in Congress and in the Senate and that have some say about things that know this is absolute nonsense, that this can't keep happening. That's why they've got to get to the root of the thing. Hopefully, the election interference thing will be the beginning of getting to the root of it. In the meantime, to allow this guy just to keep on going unhinged and the stuff he's doing, judges are coming out and saying you can't do this, but Trump's not listening. He could care less. What the hell? He's a convicted felon. He never had to pay the price for that. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit.
He's a crook, a liar, and he has got the power to do whatever he wants to do.
And he's crazy. He's crazy. He does not think that anybody will be able to stop him now because his mind is like a child. His mind is like a bowl of spaghetti up there. There's nothing going on real. The synapses are not firing in any cogent way. He can't feed himself. He can't dress himself. He can't do his friggin' makeup.
Oh, I don't know. Wait a minute. We don't know that he's not feeding himself or doing. I mean, he loves what was it, Kentucky Fried Chicken or something. He's probably feeding himself. He's probably not to that state yet. He is able to act like he is. He's able to still convince people that he seems to be okay. But now it's getting more and more where they're looking at him like,
who is he convincing? Who is he convincing? People on television?
The politicians around him, the Republicans.
No, I think the people around him are thoroughly convinced that he is not okay and that everything that's happening around him is just supremely bizarre.
I think they're scared to death to do anything about it too.
Right. What they're afraid of is those people around him like Stephen Miller, who is a true Nazi, who would order someone in Trump's, on Trump's behalf. He's the Stephen Miller. You remember this guy who set up all the separating kids from their families at the border and the Muslim ban and all that stuff? I mean, he's a little Nazi genius. And this guy is the assistant chief of staff. He wields tremendous power. Nobody sees Trump if he and Susie Wiles don't want them to. That's crazy. That's crazy town. I mean, I do think that he's severely, what's the word when you can't do stuff?
Incapacitated?
Yeah, but there's another word.
Fucked up?
Yeah, let's just use that. He's severely fucked up. Yeah, that's it. He's just severely fucked up. But I do think he has a lot more problems than we see. Don't you remember on the campaign trail, he couldn't speak properly? I mean, there were just a lot of things. Now, I think when you start getting to that stage, isn't that when, you start like, I don't know, smearing ketchup on the walls? I don't know. I think you're giving him a lot of credit. I think this guy has been decompensating for years. And I just think
I'm just saying he's able to put on a little bit of a front. he's able to act like he knows what he's talking about. Not like right now he's doing these talks with Putin. And basically what he'll do is whatever Putin wants is that's what he'll do. This thing about, well, now, okay, we're going to back off. Putin is not backing off. And I know you're saying that they're in terrible shape and they need to come to some agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Putin just wants Ukraine to oh, okay, they're going to stop doing this so Ukraine will back off a little bit. Zelensky's not stupid. He's not going to do that. They're going to stay prepared. I mean, they have been obliterated by Russia.
Yeah.
And they're, they can't trust him. And, even Zelensky tried to explain that to Trump, that, we've tried this. And instead, what does Trump do? He berates Zelensky. He said, you didn't do anything. You didn't have any talks. You didn't do anything. You didn't try to make a deal, because he's the art of the deal. I mean, it's really horrible. And then what does Trump do? I don't really understand this latest thing where he's bombing people in Iran. I know Iran is not a big fan of Trump, and that they probably came in and tried to assassinate him as well as some other people. But, now that he's doing all this bombing, I'm like, what are you doing? On one hand, you're saying, we don't want all the bloodshed and the death and the horror of war between Russia and Ukraine. But now I'm going to turn around and start another little war over here in, and I can't remember the name of the country the name of the place where they're doing the bombing.
Yemen.
Oh, is it Yemen? I thought it was some place.
Trump launched large-scale strikes on Yemen's Houthis at least 31 killed. Biggest U.S. military operation in Middle East since Trump took office. Houthis political bureau calls attacks a war crime. Trump tells Houthis, stop or hell will rain down on them. Now Yemen is aligned with Iran. So you're right there. It does have impact on Iran, and Iran does want Trump unalived. They have had a hit out on him, or whatever they call it, for years. They have wanted him to be unalived. That kind of got by me there. I heard it and then it kind of slipped out of my brain. But yeah, who is doing the bombing? The U.S.?
We are. No, I mean, he sent in our people to bomb.
Yeah. And they're doing it.
And they're doing it. I mean, it's just
it's not a good look. Well, because we're all hoping that once he gives a military order, the military will say, no, we can't do that. But
apparently they've already done it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly. I don't have time to watch and read every single goofy thing that Trump is doing. But I just thought, why are you starting another war when you're acting like you're trying to stop a war? I mean, he is just so delusional, and so his ego, his arrogance, his narcissism is so far out there. It's just more than anybody can stand, where he acts like, because he says it will happen. And then when it doesn't happen, he gets pissed and attacks people because he thinks they prevented it from happening. Things were never meant to happen that way in the first place. But no, Trump, of course, it's not just Trump, it's also Musk. And I know that they're talking, oh, well, maybe they'll just take Musk out of there. But it doesn't matter. He's totally connected with Trump. Trump is also connected with Vance. Those three people, we're also concerned about, well, okay, if they find something on Trump to take him out, what about those people? Especially like with dementia or something, if they said, okay, you're too sick to run the country, then Vance would take over. See, that's why it can't happen that way. And from what I get from my guys, it's not going to happen that way. And that's why, it will happen, it'll start with what we were just talking about earlier in the show about what Kat had told us on here about the election interference and what is coming up with that. So it starts with that, but there's just so many levels here. That's the first layer of the onion, that we can peel away. And now when everybody starts seeing the truth, you'll still have your megas that will, they're just as in denial. They're just on the same path as Trump. They're just on,
Yeah.
they can't see anything but what Trump says. And that's fine, because that will come down to a minority of people.
Yeah.
The other people with the brain, the other people that are losing their jobs, the other people that are, can't afford to eat or can't afford to keep a roof over their head, they are going to be like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Here we see it. We're seeing it. And this is the truth. And you can't deny it. I just got a feeling that whatever these people come up with, it will be undeniable. And that is where the bottom really starts to fall out.
Well, I think we're almost there. I think we're very close to being there, because people are very, very worried about things like their Social Security checks stopping and Medicaid and Medicare stopping. And they see the reason they're so worried about it is they see people who have lost jobs. In the chat here, we had someone, her son, I think I started, let's see, her son works for Amazon. Oh, I didn't put it in the start. And
yeah, I saw that.
lost his job, and that's just one of many. I mean,
yeah, she was talking about her son worked at Amazon, and I think in Arizona, and a
yeah,
bunch of people were losing their jobs because they're not.
it's going down. Nobody's buying with Amazon. Everybody unsubscribed from Prime, and now the Jeff Bezos's net worth is literally shrinking day by day because of this. He's feeling it for real.
Oh, that makes me feel so sad.
Oh,
His
it
net,
makes me feel
his
so
net
good.
worth,
I'm so
his
glad
net
that it's
worth is
shrinking.
billions and billions of dollars. So
Yeah,
you
but
know,
I mean, the walking human dick man is, really suffering, and what does he do? He just fires a bunch of people, So, but anyway, those people are losing their jobs. It's in real time. People are losing their livelihoods. People are having to move in with their families. People are losing their homes. I mean, it's happening pretty quickly that things are really devolving. And I think this energy builds up and up and up. And I think at the time of the eclipse, I think we get some big action, or maybe a series of actions and a series of revelations, a lot of things coming out in the public that show us that this is coming to an end.
well, because also we are in a period of transition across the world
Yeah.
of how things are changing now, and we've been working up to it for a long, long time. I think we've been working up to it ever since the end of the Mayan calendar. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
2012.
so, and so when it's such a huge, big thing that when it gets turned around, then we end up with not just a more peaceful country in the United States, but more peacefulness and just a better, more love really in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess it's something that we signed up for, to be on this earth at this point in time.
It is.
And I've often wondered, how in the hell did I get drug into YouTube? And, why did Spirit send me here? So
It was all a part of the plan.
it is. It's all a part of the plan. So
No, it's true. And I think the election fraud, all of the revelations about that, when that really is in a very a much more, not compact, but a much more focused um, form, that people can really put their heads around it and understand how it worked from state to state to state. Because all those swing states, they shouldn't have, those swing states shouldn't have gone the way they went. So pretty much all of the swing states definitely are the models and case studies for the rigging. They all are. So once they start pulling that apart and showing how in the swing states how things were rigged and taken apart, that allows people, even people who MAGA, that allows them to start going, that I guess that, wow, that really happened, so they can begin to believe that that happened. And that allows them to begin to believe that he's not good, that he's lying, that he's, he really is a felon and this is horrible, blah, blah. But you have to soften the ground and get people to accept these things in stages, those who are against it. We already believe it, right? We're all on the side of reality, I think. But, on the MAGA or even some Republican side, they don't believe it. And they need to believe it for this to really come about. They need to believe it. And getting them to believe it, I think, is a staged journey. It doesn't happen with just a big announcement. It happens with all the stuff that's happening now. And then revelations about things like, Pennsylvania and other things, and then watching him lose in court and then flouting the court's decisions. That's another piece of revealing what's really going on here. And I think all of these things help the resistant American public gain understanding and then eventually acceptance that this is the way it really is. And then I think then it's a watershed. Then we can just go and get rid of him and do all the other stuff. But we need to get more people really behind it. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Well, it's just amazing to me that we're not there, because everything he's doing, is so illegal, and he's getting away with it because of the Supreme Court. These guys in the Supreme Court, they got something to answer for. But either way, for him to go beyond Congress has not been, he hasn't discussed anything with Congress. He just went ahead and did it with this Elon Musk. I mean, it's just the most bizarre thing. It is going to come. It's going to come to a head. And yes, I know that this month is where a lot of things start to come together, start to kind of gel to where somebody can finally say, okay, regardless of what Trump is doing, they're going to come out and say, this is what's been going on. This is what we found. This is the way it is. Trump, it will either totally ignore it, but other people won't. They're not going to ignore it, because what they're going to do is they're going to take him out. They're going to take Trump out of the office of president. And certainly all of the Republicans that supported him throughout this fiasco and fraud are going with him. They are in just as much trouble. So that's what also the bad thing about that is, that's how those people keep supporting him, because they don't want to lose it all either. So I don't know. I mean, this thing about turning everything to an authoritarian government, this thing about just crippling the very fabric of this country, starting with the justice system, that's a pretty scary thing. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's just removing anything that should get in his way at all. They're out. Well, don't tell me that Jack Smith and the people he works with and all these other people that, that Trump's aimed, like the different prosecutors that went after him for stuff in Georgia. And what's her name? Fonnie Willis?
Yeah, Fonnie Willis. Yeah.
Okay, like these people, they haven't forgotten what they did. They haven't forgotten what evidence they have. And I think Jack Smith is really one that they're looking to find out, what did Jack really have that we haven't ever even heard about. So I just think there's a bunch of stuff coming up, and it's happening right now. So I'm excited about it. But as far as, it's huge, it's just massive. And to collectively put all this stuff together and make something out of it to change the direction that we're going in, it will happen. It's going to happen. I know that no matter, that we're not going to go till 2026. I really believe that all of this will transpire this year. But I get so excited because I hear about stuff that's going on, just like Kat was saying about the election interference. You know, you hear that and I'm like, bingo, this is what I'm waiting for, as if that's going to change something overnight. It's not, but in the end, it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
But it's not an overnight thing.
Well, I want to say a couple of things. One is I did a few cards on Elon, and just it's the same thing. He's really going downhill. He's decompensating as well, but for a different reason, mainly because he's fried all of his gray matter with ketamine, and he's having breakdown after breakdown. He's, very emotional, in tears, curled up in a fetal position. He's not doing well. Yeah, he's made himself mentally ill, though. It's not like Trump, and well, Trump's made himself ill too because he's also a drug abuser. But Elon is just trying to get stable enough so that he can get on a plane and leave the country. And the other thing I wanted to say is that I was watching Libby, I think, this morning, and God, that seems like such a long time ago. But she was saying that Jack Smith took copies of all of his papers with him.
Yes, I heard that too.
That makes me very optimistic, very happy. They don't have to start from scratch with any kind of research. They already have it. And he has, I think, Alex Whiting. Is Alex Whiting with him? Because Alex Whiting also came from The Hague. I'll Google that but anyway.
So, and when you get a chance, Colleen, DS, can you draw the tarot cards for a year from now, and where we'll be? You know, I just gave my 2 cents on that, and I stand by that. I've had the same idea for a long time, but I'm certainly willing to see what somebody else has to say about it.
Even your little sister?
Especially my little sister.
That's nice. Okay, I can't find this out. I know that it doesn't say if he went back. Isn't that interesting? Everything about him is stops at 2007. I wonder if they scrubbed the internet for information about him to protect him. Okay. So where will we
Oh,
be?
and that's the other thing. They're taking down all the websites of these different federal agencies and removing all the information. And I'm like, wow. It's just like he's just turning everything into the authoritarian country that he wants.
It isn't like he's doing it. He is doing it.
Right. Excuse me. Absolutely.
He is doing it. And, for such an addled brain nincompoop, how is he able to be so effective and efficient on that score, but he can't get anything else done? Or maybe that's the goal, is just to make everybody think he's just an addled nincompoop. Now he actually is an addled nincompoop. But maybe the goal was just to get everybody to think that he was not capable of doing the awful things that he's trying to do, so that we wouldn't, stop him. Wow.
Yes, I was just reading that somebody wrote about the Department of Education. Yeah, he seems to be making a huge big deal about this, and I guess he's going to do that. I don't know what that means I know that the local news I've heard from Seattle, that they do something like that. I mean, all the funding goes out the window, and I mean, there's so much funding that they're eliminating that all has to do with the children and the schooling, and also we have different things for to help out farmers and to I mean for people that are trying to grow food for us, and there's just so many things that they're eliminating. And especially the funding for this. And I mean, there was a reason why the funding came up in the first place, and it all went through Congress. And then he's just willy-nilly just wiping it out. Well, it's crazy.
Well, and that's all adding to the whole galloping towards a big freaking recession or depression or both. And it's going to impact our supply chains again, because people just won't have the money to buy things. So that's going to slow down the supply chains. And what about agriculture? If we can't buy things that are affordable from other countries, do we really think we're going to get all of our food from the United States? That's a frightening prospect. We grow shitty food in the United States. I don't necessarily want to eat what only comes from the United States because it's all crap.
Well, his claim is not just for food, but for steel, aluminum, and all this. Like, instead of importing all this stuff, that we should be self-sufficient and do it all ourselves. Well,
we can't.
Yeah, we're not set up for that. And plus, even if we could, you can't do it overnight. You can't just say, okay, no more steel from Canada, or at least put a tariff on it so huge that it's not affordable, and then turn around and say, well, we'll just make our own steel. What? When? Now? A year from now? Do you have the plans? Or is anybody able to get a job there? I mean, what are you talking about? It's just crazy.
It's terrible. Okay, I threw the cards for a year from now. So it starts out with the Ace of Wands. So I think a year from now, we will still be having politicians and lawmakers and all sorts of people making changes and starting things to help us and to help us to survive. And what crosses it is the Queen of Cups. Now, I don't really know who this is. This would be a water sign woman, an inspirational leader, somebody who cares about our health and well-being, somebody who cares for us, nurtures us. So that person is really going to be leading the pack. And we will still be somewhat sad. We will still be somewhat shaken and sad from this experience, but we're not in the experience anymore. We'll see that by a year from now, the devil will be in the past. And I think that's the collective Trump administration, not just him, but all of the devils that make up that administration. What crowns us is the Two of Cups. So we will have rebuilt alliances probably with some of the other countries. We will have rebuilt alliance and rebuilt relationship with family members that we had we broke with over this. Maybe I think that a lot of the people who went the way of MAGA are probably people who were prone to going the way of some kind of cult as well. So bringing them back, helping them with their mental health, I think will be a huge focus of people's lives so that we can heal, so that we can bring everybody back together. So on the governmental level, we'll be healing relationships, but on the personal level, we'll also be trying to heal relationships. And what shows in the future is temperance. So this is the card showing me that we are going to take our time. We're going to do it right. We may feel like we want to do it in a hurry, but we won't be able to do it in a hurry. And we also are it's past the time that we force things to happen. Nobody is going to be forcing things to happen. We're not going to force someone to rewrite the Constitution in 12 days. We're not going to force all these laws to be changed. We're going to take our time and see how do we change the law? What is the part of the law that's weak that needs to be changed? How do we rebuild our health system? How do we rebuild our corporate system? How do we rebuild our car industry? All these things, we'll be looking at them and seeing what is really the best way forward, literally for the highest good of all. We are probably still pretty worried that we won't get back to normal, but I would point out that remember in COVID, everybody just, that was the mantra. I just want to go back to normal. I just want things to go back to normal. Have they gone back to normal? No. Did it kill you? No.
No, but when Biden was in office and it was coming back, it was coming back better than before.
And
Because
different. Yeah.
yeah, different. We had learned some things from
Yes.
this.
Yes.
And
And
people
that,
were grateful to be back to work. And,
yeah.
even with the inflation, people wanted to get all through the campaigning time. Everybody was just crazy about the inflation and blaming Biden, which if Biden hadn't done what he had, first of all, we would have gone into a recession. Things would not have come back the way they did. Biden was a genius the way he ran this country, and he handed a really nice. We were set. We were heading in the totally right direction, and then Trump comes in and destroys. He's
Yeah.
destroying every bit of it.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about for next year in 2026, right? Is that by that time, what the cards are saying, things have changed. Things have changed drastically. That
Yeah.
all this, the stuff, and that's what's going to happen. And it's going to go back around, but the mess that he made in just a few months. Oh, where did I get a few months? Wait a minute. In just a few months, it's going to take twice that long and longer to reverse it, because
Yeah.
it's just so massive.
Yeah. It is
Sometimes
massive.
I
But
see things that I'm not even aware of what I'm saying, and I'm thinking when I say a few months, that might mean a big difference. I'm thinking now into April.
yeah.
I
And
think what we are seeing right now, you can feel encouraged about this, even
mhm.
though the orange moron is still doing crazy things. Really, the more he digs in, the worse it gets, the more there's going to be an uprising, the more that other people in the know that have some power themselves are going to say, oh, no, 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 you can't let this person just be so ridiculous. He's causing way, way, way too much damage. So, yeah, if you're seeing that we are coming from a place of renewal and rebuilding
Mhm.
in 2026,
Mhm.
that's if anybody wonders what that means that we're fixing the problem in 2025, but it takes time.
Mhm.
I know I've heard that it might take years to get things back in order after Trump has made such a mess out of it. Well, that one other thing that bothers me about that, it means that it's going to get even worse than it is today. But I think that continual thing of getting worse and worse and worse and worse, that is what's coming to an end somehow.
And that has to happen. It has to get to this absolute worst point before it can get better. But think about what Biden did. The things that Biden did were miraculous. I mean, we were literally the envy of the world with our economy. And if Biden had not succeeded the way he did, then Trump could have done this in 2 weeks. We would have been already devastated. If we were in a recession already, if we had out of control inflation already, if we were already just dejected and unhappy with our lives already, if we already felt like we didn't have any control, he could have just walked in, and in 2 weeks, him and Stephen Miller would be just sitting there smoking cigars going, look at us, we're the kings of the world. So it is really good that we started out at such a good place from what that Joe Biden set us up in. And I think, one thing to keep in mind is that it is going to be in steps, baby steps. We have a lot of healing to do. And it's not going to be just a straight to trajectory of everything going better, 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 better. We'll have setbacks and whatever. But there was something else. Oh, shoot, it just flew out of my brain. That Oh, that the Constitution, rewriting the Constitution, that could take a decade to really get done, you know? But a lot of the laws that we need to have changed immediately will be changed immediately. I know Jamie Raskin is already working on those. He's probably already got 50, 60 laws rewritten. He's probably got half the Constitution rewritten the way he thinks it should be. So there's all, and like Judge Ludig and that guy who's always on MSNBC that's gone to the Supreme Court a gazillion times, Neil Katyal, people like that are already thinking about this and already, putting together drafts so that we have somewhere to start. Even if they're not on the committee to do it, they're going to be willing to put that stuff out. So it's very, very hopeful, but it is going to take a long time. The stuff that needs to be prioritized and done immediately will be done immediately. And, so they're going to take care of food. They're going to take care of jobs. They're going to take care of the economy. They're going to take care of healthcare, basic things. They're going to do just broad strokes and get things back kind of on track. And then they're going to start filling in around the edges, the details that need to be filled in. And we will, people will be somewhat critical, but it won't be like it was with the MAGAs.
Well, and you've got to remember that almost every single politician and all our individual governments, our state governments, and our governors, and all these people do everything in accordance to the Constitution. Trump is doing everything to not do the Constitution. So when somebody said here, 47 had the Constitution removed from the DOT government site, wow.
That's big. That's big. Unfortunately, these guys don't understand the internet because you can go just about anywhere and get a copy of the Constitution.
No, that's not. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's the fact that he had it removed from a government website. It's just, this is bizarre. And so there is other people that no matter which way they turn, they're still faced with, what did the Constitution say? Hopefully the Constitution will someday say, if you're a felon, you can't run for president.
I think that's one of the first things it's going to say.
But that's what I'm saying is that Trump is doing things against the Constitution. He's doing things against Congress. He's doing things against the court. He is unhinged. He feels like he can just run rampant and do anything he wants. This is what, and along with Musk helping him to think the same, to go along with it. This is what it's going to be, the courts that start to come down on him, and people just aren't going to put up with it. Everybody thinks that the military, since that the military won't step in. Surprise, you wait and see. The military will be stepping in. It won't be a kind of a thing. It won't be your normal kind of thing like, okay, somebody broke the law, so they get arrested, they go to jail, they go before a judge, they either get imprisoned or they get set free. It's none of those kind of things. That's not how this is going to work. Because his behavior, Trump's behavior, is treasonous. Somebody has to come down on that. I mean, that's not going to be your local police force. It's going to be the military, because I think those treasonous acts will be exposed right along with the election interference. I know he's going to deny that he had any knowledge of election interference. As a matter of fact, he's going to say that it's made up, it's a hoax. It's, his usual line. But I think that the information that we see, and we got to be careful about this, because the information we see will be where it's undisputable. But on the other hand, Trump has a way of, just like talking about the 2020 election, he has a certain amount of people believing that the election was rigged and that he should have been president, only because he says the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, just, we're inundated by his bullshit every single day until it's exhausting. It's exhausting.
Well, it's like Chinese water torture. Drip, 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 And then you just believe it because it's just there all the time. But I wanted to tell people something that's very, very hopeful about the courts and about the arrest or whatever is going to happen. So I was listening to Glenn Kirshner today talk about this, and he was interviewing a colleague of his from many, many years who was in the U.S. Marshals Service for many, many years. I don't think he is anymore, but he knows that system inside and out. And what they were saying is, I love this, drum roll please, the U.S. Marshals are not directed solely by the DOJ. The U.S. Marshals are directed by the courts.
Ah,
So when the courts say, we got to do something about this, you got to like lock this guy up, they tell the U.S. Marshals, and the U.S. Marshals go, oh, okay. And they go, regardless of what else is going on around them, regardless of anything else, they listen to the courts because the courts direct them. So it doesn't matter that the DOJ or the Washington State or Washington D.C. police or the FBI or anybody is run out of the DOJ. It doesn't matter. If they decide that the courts need him to be apprehended, it is the U.S. Marshal Service that will do it initially, and then maybe they get backed up by the military. But I just wanted to say that. Someone said, then you have the U.S. Marshals versus the Secret Service. I don't think so. I don't think the Secret Service is going to go butt in there because the Secret Service also does ultimately have to follow the law. So they don't want to go against the courts. And the Secret Service that protect our officials are not supposed to break the law. They're not supposed to go against the law in protecting these people. If somebody's shooting at them, they're supposed to lay down their life and them. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a legal apprehension.
yeah. And I just want to remind everybody, just watch this month a lot, because this is where we're going to start, where things are going to start coming out. And I doubt you're ever going to see somebody come on and say, well, I was a part of investigating election interference and we found A, B, C, and D. It won't go like that. It'll be bits and pieces of stuff. But that is not the only thing that will be coming up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just see, and I've seen it for a long time, that March is going to be the tipping point of when things start to come up. And they already are. They already are. And like I said, as long as Trump keeps digging himself in deeper and deeper and deeper and showing just such a
disregard.
Just bizarre way of thinking, and the different people that he's just continually firing and just totally ignoring what the court says, totally avoiding Congress, not doing anything in a normal manner. That people, whether it's because they decide to do an intervention and take him out of there and put him in a hospital, or if they're just starting to take the facts and saying, hey, wait a minute, look at what's going on. I mean, it's going to be interesting how they accept or not accept this. But he can't keep lying to us over and over and over again and still maintain that that he's doing the right thing. We know he's lying about why he wants the tariffs. We know he's lying about why he removed all these federal employees. This nonsense about we have to, go back and change everything in the country because it costs too much, or there's been fraud, or there's been people that aren't doing their jobs or whatever. This is all complete nonsense. Those people have been doing a fine job. They've been doing it, and they were feeling because they were of service to the country. That made their job even more important. Maybe they weren't in the army or anything or a politician, but they're just doing the job that had to be done for the country. And then this asshole turns around and says, you're out. You're out instantly for no reason. Like courts keep saying, this was illegal, this was wrong. And they're asking Trump to give them some information about why did you do that? Just like the people they deported that they were told not to deport, but they did it anyway. Well, because that's how he's running things. That is what's going to stop him in the end, is you just can't do it that way. This is not Russia. This is not, a communist country, or an authoritarian country. This is a country based on democracy, and he is trying to ruin that. He's trying to take over and do something totally different. I can't figure out in the long run how this helps anybody. And I think, I'm not even that knowledgeable about this stuff. Now, the people that are knowledgeable are thinking the same thing. So, but it will be this month that you start to see more and more. And it just starts with that one thing that we put up earlier about the election interference. These little things are coming out, and I can't wait to hear it. And they said very soon. Yes, yes, it is. It's now. It's this month. From now until the end of the month, we're getting closer and closer. So we'll probably start hearing more stuff. And then going into April will be even better. But in the meantime, so many people are suffering. I feel terrible about some of the things that he has removed the money from, the U.S. AIDS thing. People are already, just because they can't get their medicine, they're dying. And it's just horrible what is going on there. And so many different programs that he's eliminated that leaves us vulnerable, very vulnerable to attacks from other countries and stuff, plus making enemies with Canada and Mexico and everywhere else, where he's just, he's trying to broaden his tariffs to include all countries, anybody who sends anything to our country. I mean, it's just, it can't continue. It won't continue, but it will for a while. So just keep your eyes peeled for this kind of stuff. Anyway, we're into this an hour and 20 minutes. And I was thinking we're probably going to go an hour. We went a little bit over. I know we didn't get to everybody's comments, but boy, you guys, I love what you guys have to say, because I learn more from the chat section than I just don't have time to go all through the internet and try to find what's really going on. So I really appreciate that. And, I want to, Colleen, is there something that you wanted to add to this?
I just want people to know that it's going to happen in ways that you are not really expecting. Even after all the stuff we have seen and all the stuff that has come out in the news and all the pushback we have seen to Trump, we are still going to see things that are very unexpected. And some things will be very shocking and explosive. But it is going to be one hell of a rest of the month. It's already the 19th of March, and in the next 10 days, I think things will be just really eye-opening and possibly very shocking. But we are going to come out of this, I think, pretty soon. And the recovery, like I said, don't expect that it's going to happen overnight, because it's not. But it is going to happen. And so if you can prevent yourself from thinking in very black and white terms, you'll be much better off. Think outside the box. Oh boy, without insurance, my inhaler would be $2,000. Well, sounds like a trip to Mexico to me, or Canada.
And that inhaler already was so overpriced. I mean, I know people with
there's no reason for it to be $2,000.
Well, was there any reason for it to be $800 or $900?
No, never. No. That's just that's again big corporations just being greedy, and that's going to come to an end.
Biden was starting to get a handle on this kind of stuff. Trump will just let it go.
Oh yeah, I know.
And those inhalers are life-saving. That's not just like, well, maybe you can use it or maybe you don't need it. No, you need that, and it's life-saving. And $2,000. Oh, I think she said that that would last Jane every 3 months. Well, that's a hell of a lot of money, and it's such a necessity. So yes, I mean, I'm thinking about all these people, of what's going on with the medicine, with everything, with every single thing, and You know, I hope we can come back on here. I hope we're giving people a little bit of hope that there is a light at the end of this tunnel. But the overall mess that's being created in just a matter of weeks is going to take a long time to fix, to get back to normal. And it's not just get back to normal. I think when those things are redone, they're going to be better than ever. And that we're going to put up some safeguards that says somebody can't just come in and ruin the country like this. They can't do it.
Right.
And that will be coming up. So anyway, thanks again. It's been a while since I've been on, but I'm revving up. I'll probably be on again pretty soon. So thanks again for coming. And thank you, Colleen, for helping me out with this.
Yeah, my pleasure. This was fun. And thank you to everybody in the chat. All your comments were just astounding. They were just great.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, we'll see you guys later. And really hang in there, keep the faith, and just know that we're headed in the right direction.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
we are. Spread love, not war.